So political pundits in the corporate media just can't comprehend why their candidate lost, especially after spending months colluding with her and doing propaganda for her and trying to attack and destroy her political opponents. They just can't fathom it. How the hell could she have lost? Well, there's one so-called progressive who knows who to blame. And Rachel Maddow is claiming that there is a very clear person or persons who we have to place blame on for the success of Trump. She states, well, it is what it is. People go into this eyes wide open, Maddow said during MSNBC's election night coverage. If you vote for somebody who can't win for president, it means that you don't care who wins for president. And Chris Matthews chimed in saying, that's what I think. So I'm going to give Rachel Maddow and Chris Matthews a really hard pill to swallow. You ready? You're wrong. So when you look at turnout trends among Democratic voters throughout the years, it's clear that Hillary Clinton's own base just didn't come out to support her. And that's because they don't want to support a corrupt establishment stooge of Wall Street that loves war. And not only is Rachel Maddow and Chris Matthews wrong for making this statement, but they actually owe Jill Stein and Gary Johnson an apology. But here's another fact that will blow their minds. Without Gary Johnson and Jill Stein there to act as a buffer between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, do you know what would have happened? Donald Trump would have won by an even larger margin because the people who supported Gary Johnson, they're conservative. Most of them were either independents or were conservatives who did not support Donald Trump. So without Gary Johnson, they probably would have voted for Donald Trump. So Gary Johnson helped Hillary Clinton in many ways, and that's why many Republicans were saying, look, if you vote for Gary Johnson, that's a vote for Hillary Clinton. Don't do it. So Gary Johnson is not to blame. Now, when it comes to Jill Stein, she also helped, not hurt Democrats, because, you could blame her for splitting the vote between liberals, even though she only got 1% of the vote, and we know this wouldn't be an issue. But Hillary Clinton, she just depressed the base. She wasn't an inspiring candidate, even though you guys tried to tell us that she was inspiring and tried to force us to be inspired by this corporatist. She wasn't an inspiring candidate, so the base stood home. However, Jill Stein gave many liberals someone to vote for. So when we voted for Jill Stein, do you want to know what else we did? We went and we voted in down-ticket races. And it is the case that, yes, I did vote for Green Party candidates on down-ticket races too, but I also voted Democrat. I kind of went back and forth and looked at the candidates, and I voted for either Green or Democratic candidates. So what I did was I voted for Jill Stein for president, and I voted for Ron Wyden for the U.S. Senate. I voted for a Democratic House member as well. So if you're honestly trying to tell me that Jill Stein was bad for Hillary Clinton, you're wrong, because she just didn't pull enough votes away from Hillary Clinton in order to hand the election over to Donald Trump. And again, if you remove Jill Stein and Gary Johnson from this equation, then Donald Trump would have won by a larger margin. But here's what we all have to just learn. You don't have to worry about third-party threats if you run a competent candidate to begin with. Jill Stein and Gary Johnson were both their party's nominees in 2012 as well. 0 people knew about them back then. So the fact that we know about them now doesn't show how selfish they are and how stupid voters are. It just shows that you guys messed up by putting forth historically disliked candidates, thus making voters want to migrate to someone else that wants to get out and cast their vote. And when you talk shit about third-party candidates, what are you doing? You're depressing turnout even more. We already have really low turnout when you compare us to other modern industrialized nations. So by blaming voters for supporting third-party candidates, you hurt Democrats in the long run, because those who came out to vote for Jill Stein, they would have stayed home if Jill Stein wasn't there, or potentially they would have voted for Donald Trump just to give a big middle finger to Democrats. And let me just ask you guys this. You were wrong throughout the entirety of this election cycle. You all told us Hillary Clinton was more electable. And this was in spite of the fact that all of the facts were in front of you the entire time, and the writing was on the wall, but you still chose to not just ignore what progressives were saying. You chose to be smug about it and condescending about it and laugh at us. Well, you reap what you sow. Who's laughing now? Well, the Republicans are laughing now because you helped them win by being stupid and by supporting the historically disliked, flawed, scandal-ridden, corrupt corporatist candidate. Good job. So again, I just want to say, why should we listen to you now, Rachel Maddow? You are not a progressive. You're a so-called progressive. We thought you were progressive, but throughout this election cycle, your true colors were revealed to us. You are just a Democratic partisan hack and nothing more. So you don't like when people support third-party candidates because you're supposed to fall in line no matter what. Well, we're telling you we're not going to fall in line if Hillary Clinton is the nominee. You didn't believe us. You said, well, the Democratic Party was divided in 2008. It was a really contentious race between Clinton and Obama. So the same thing is going to happen. Bernie Sanders millennial supporters are going to fall in line. We told you that we're just going to stay home. You didn't listen. That's your own fault. Don't blame anybody but yourselves. And Clinton, of course, for running the worst campaign ever.